Whether you're playing Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder or Dungeon Crawl Classics or old OSR stuff, doesn't matter. The role of the Game Master or Dungeon Master is totally necessary. As a Dungeon Master, you're tasked with wearing a lot of hats. You have to flesh out this world and build this epic or intimate story while role-playing dozens, if not hundreds of characters. Rules Master, the final say, and typically the scheduler for everyone. It can be quite a tough and thankless job sometimes. But with all things, it has its own rewards, and a lot of times you want to get better at it. But sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out exactly where you're lacking or how you can improve. But I found an interesting way to get better at being a dungeon master that I didn't really expect when I started. And one good way to becoming a better dungeon master is to not be a dungeon master.
Are you joking?
It's horrible.
We're miserable.
He's laughing at us.
It's humiliating.
We're furious.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I promise this is going to make sense. So like many of you that's probably watching this video, I have been a dungeon master, the forever DM, if you will, for somewhere between 8 to 9 years. It's been a long time, and I've been using my own homebrewed world, creating all the characters, the backstories, the encounter design, world building, map, cartography, everything on my own. Don't get me wrong, it's been incredibly rewarding, creatively, and still a lot of fun. But whenever one of the players decided they wanted to take up the mantle of DM and give it a try, I was interested in seeing what it would be like to actually be a player for a while. So I decided to step back and fill the role of Yug the Barbarian. I started to learn a lot of things that I really wanted to take going forward. And the first thing is that if it's fun for you, it's most likely fun for them. If you're a player and you're having fun doing something in a game, it would be a good idea to implement those same ideas and put it in your game. A few of those things that I found out, for example, role-playing with other PCs. I didn't realize how impactful it was just talking with the other players in the game and just peeling back layers of their backstory and learning more about them, strategizing and joking and having a good time. I didn't realize how much fun that was. I want to find ways to really just bolster that in my own games. Presentation was something that I think I've been sorely lacking on. We started out playing this game using theater of the mind.
My head movies!
Which is perfectly fine. It's a great way to get started, and we still use it for a lot of things. But I didn't realize how impactful it was just having this illustrated gridded map, a little bit of mood lighting, some ambiance, just background noise, and handouts, physical handouts that we could hold in our hand and look at. It just kind of grounded the world and immersed us so much. I didn't realize how important it was and how fun it is to have those things. And it's something I didn't use personally because I just really didn't think it was that big of a deal. Spotlighting the players. It is really fun when, as a player, to do something rad, like crit 3 werewolves in a row, one-shotting them, or taking down a giant tree monster with one swing with your giant battle axe.
Looks like I'm adding Lumberjack to the list. Natural 20, baby! Let's go!
How do you want to do this? Let's just take a moment to appreciate that a barbarian one-rounded the single-rounded this boss.
That feels good. And my friend made sure to spotlight those things appropriately, which just enhanced that good feeling I had going on. I also didn't realize how important character flaws for the player characters was. I have always encouraged them to not make this perfect epic character with a totally heroic background. I want them to have character flaws. But it's not something I realized was as much fun as it was. And I want to find more ways to engage with it because engaging with my character's flaws was exciting. Getting into these situations where I knew something bad was going to happen because my character would not stand for it, would not back down, created for these just tense situations. Now, on the other side of the things that are, if they're fun for you, they're fun for them. If it's not fun for you, it's most not likely fun for them. Putting the party against impossible encounters is fine for a time and can be thematic and help set up a villain, but when you have them back to back, it often felt frustrating because I felt powerless. Going up against an impossible foe is cool, especially when you eventually bring them down, but if you just keep going up against this time after time, you start to feel worthless, and things just don't have that same fun factor anymore. I've said this in another video, I like to have hills and valleys, but this just really helped to accentuate my own thoughts on this. On the other side of that, having long, easy encounters turned out to be kind of boring.
Yeah, piece of cake. Give us something harder next time.
Having an easy encounter is good. Having an easy encounter that takes 12 rounds of combat, not fun. When you're going through a wave of 20-something odd guys with 5 hit points, it just kind of feels like you're stepping on bugs. Another thing I learned is I don't really like having my character's agency taken away. Meaning, I don't enjoy not being able to act on my turn. We got into a kerfuffle with some cultists in a town. Little backstory to this whole encounter. A week prior, in-game, my character held up the big bad in town, his lifeless dead corpse, to show everyone, to let them know who the big boss in town now was, while the bard sang a big song about it and floated into the air and all made everybody just totally awe-inspired. It was a really cool moment. So it was neat in a sense that they were terrified of my character because he was this bloodthirsty barbarian. It wasn't a lot of fun when 8 of them kept using their action to cast whole person on him.
I'm gonna break out a whole person finally, and another one's just gonna go.
Yep.
They roll pretty low except for the 20.
That's how they hold person.
You still have advantage on that roll, though.
I know,
And-
I know.
and
But
Doesn't matter with him.
He has a
It doesn't
bonus.
matter if you.
Even with the advantage that our cleric gave me for wisdom saving throws, I was still failing. So anytime I became free, they would continue to use hold person on me, and it just was really, really frustrating because 6 rounds of combat go by, and I did nothing but stand in front of a window paralyzed. Not a lot of fun. I also didn't enjoy being told too much. I don't like being spoon-fed where to go, who to talk to, what that person said. I like piecing things together on my own. It's like a mystery. And when you're being strung along like the little map marker in video games, it takes a lot of the excitement away. I know I'm talking about this bad experience that I'm having being a player character, but again, you had all the good stuff earlier. And Keith, if you're watching this, I think you're doing a great job, and I want you to continue doing it. And lastly, and probably most importantly, I was really getting burnout. Being a player has not only given me this inspiration to make my own games better when I do return to that role, but it's helped me just recharge my batteries, take the load off, let that burden be shared by someone else. And I think it's important, like with all things in life, you have to take a break. That's why we take vacations. Sometimes you have to take a vacation from being the DM. It's only natural. So that's my wisdom I've got for you today. Don't be a dungeon master, at least for a little while. All right, go out there and don't be a dungeon master.